Okay, we're gonna get started. Good evening. It is Monday, February 9th, 2026 at 6 p.m. in the Susan Tully Livesley Boardroom of the 1887 building. I'd like to start the evening out by saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to call the meeting to order, and Mr. Tadlock, will you take roll call, please?
Yes. Adam Andre.
Here.
Eric Gordon.
Here.
Mrs. Ingersoll.
Here.
Mrs. Costock is excused. Mrs. Reckles is also excused. Mr. Scarrow.
Here.
Mrs. Vaughn.
Here.
Mr. Grieving.
Here.
And Ms. Krakowski is excused this evening.
Okay, this meeting has been noticed per state statute. I have not received any committee participation request for this evening, so we will move on to the Jackson Elementary student presentation.
All right, today we have Mrs. Berta, who is our EL teacher, and she has 4 students. This year we've been working on oral language skills, and so Lourdes will show you what they have been working on. So, and they're gonna do a little debate for you.
Ooh,
Right.
First, if you, my 5th grade squad, could stand up and introduce yourselves. You just have to say your first name. Which are you looking at the head?
If I swear for it, you're perfect.
Okay.
I'm Ugo Alex.
And this is where it's at. So I work with these guys during, oh, you got it?
Gotcha.
Okay. During WIN, we, obviously as an EL teacher, I have to work on the different types of speaking and things that students must do. So obviously speaking, there's 4 different types: inform, narrate, explain, and argue. And I think this presentation will show you all of those things, except for maybe narrate, but. So, listening and speaking is a big part of the EL program and a big part of literacy. It's the first part of literacy. But obviously the problem we have in school is that we have 95% of teachers doing the talking instead of the students doing the talking, which as a classroom teacher, that's hard to let go. But so this year we're really focusing on trying to let the students talk some more. So. Yeah, the elementary schools chose oral language development as one of our school goals. And we thought that accountable talk stems would be good they're good for all students, but especially EL students that might have, vocabulary and 2 languages they have to think about. So different teachers have different, they're all like the same phrases, but they might have it set up differently in their rooms. So we have that in my room, and then they have little cards that we've been using for our conversations. So we're just gonna show you guys a little, we've been doing a lot of debating. And I did make some of them pick a side that they actually didn't want to. So our topic today is, which is better, a traditional school year or year-round school? So who would like traditional? Who voted for traditional? Okay, you guys are over there? You 2 are over here. All right, who would like to start? You guys don't start it that much. Who would like to start? Yeah, Ugo?
For traditional school year, we don't go to school in the summertime, so we save money. Not on here.
Sorry.
All right.
I agree with Hugo, but we get shorter breaks around the whole school year. Around the whole entire year.
I agree with Veronica, but the traditional school year is better because it gives us more time to do our summer activities.
I agree with Alex, but we could also keep doing our hobbies throughout the weeks that we get off.
Can you explain that again?
Um, we get like, we can do our hobbies during the weeks that we get off. Um. But. Like. You know. We have like the longer summer. We have more time to like rest on our summer break and we just go to school while we're resting. I agree with Hugo, but. I agree with Hugo, but he also gets smarter throughout the year.
Yeah.
I agree with David, but we also get smarter during our break.
Bye.
I learned,
What did we say earlier? What, some things we can do during our break? Say that?
We could do like camping, like.
Summer.
Okay, it's not bad, like. Don't feel that's a long part.
summer school,
What did I say about summer school earlier today?
Don't forget. Can I go?
School. Summer school. Isn't that the same as this?
summer school training, will be there in school.
Yes, we have school. You're the.
Yeah, what's right there.
Okay, I agree with you, but, so, the reason why we have a longer summer break is because. After our summer break, we barely have any like days off and weeks, so that will help us like learn, not get distracted.
School. So we have decisions made. Which one was your decision?
The year-round school.
Mr. Chadlock, he really thought we were convincing you today, just letting you know, so you guys can think about that. What did you choose? For real? You guys?
Well, I've got good news for all of you. When you get to high school, we do have a traditional schedule, but if you want to go to the Career College Academy, they do a year-round schedule where they go 6 weeks on and 2 weeks off.
Yeah, I don't want.
So you can choose between the two when you get to the high school age. That'll be here before you. With your 5th grade. 3 more years, you can go your room.
Yeah, nice.
That's great. I was sharing with the students beforehand because they could have done the presentation just as well or better in Spanish. And I think that's really impressive and a great tool that they have, that they're bilingual and your English is perfect too. So great work.
And I told Ms. Fisher that I really wanted, I found this poem about being bilingual, I'm like, I really want them to read it, but they don't unfortunately read or write very well in Spanish, so I didn't want, they're speaking and speaking skills are, yeah. So maybe in the future, we can work on that.
All right.
All right, thank you guys.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, this evening we have some Chinese visitors that are here in our district, and Miss Lyra is here to introduce them. Everybody.
Hi, everyone. Christine Lyra, the Spanish teacher. So we had a group that arrived, it was February 1st, there were 5 guests that came. This is them when they left. I think I've never cheated down, but the first teacher that came was Susan, and she left Saturday. She had to get back to China for Chinese New Year because she was in Europe last year and her husband really wanted her back. And also Wendy was at our school last year. She came with the visitors for 3 weeks. So she came just a week and she went back home on Wednesday with Susan. And meanwhile, we dropped them off at 8 a.m. and then I took these 3 around Chicago for the day. And then the next teacher, Kelly, came in at 8 p.m. So she's been on for the next 2 weeks. These are twin brothers here. We have Mason and Jameson. And then we've got some host parents back there. We've got Bethany and Michael, the host families. But yeah, the host families were wonderful because it was kind of a last minute thing this year, waiting on visas. The reason why Kelly came later was one boy, he tried for his visa, was denied. He tried again, was denied. She was waiting to play again, but only like a 22% pass rate for visas right now. And his aunt was here and she has a visa, his parents have a visa, so it's just no rhyme or reason, but anyway. So yeah, we've had some fun. This is, that's your house, right, Bethany? Is that George walking the dogs? Yeah, with one of the boys, and then they've been attending classes at the middle school, and that's been going great. They just follow their host siblings' schedule. So it's been fun, and then we did Lake Geneva snow sculpture. We always take them to see that and did dinner at Lake Geneva, so that was fun. Last week, and they went to the Bucks game last Wednesday night. They played the Pelicans. They got to see a win in overtime, so that was really fun. It was a late night, but they were so excited to see who won and cheering for the Bucks, so that was good. It's more of the game. Other ice sculpture, Lake Geneva. Some more pictures from school. And then Saturday we went up the Willis Tower and then the Navy Pier Ferris wheel. Picture on the right was at the Willis Tower also.
They operate the Ferris wheel year round?
Yeah.
Yes, they're enclosed.
It's shorter, yeah, you're enclosed, but yeah, I think it opened at 11 a.m. We had to wait a little bit. We got lunch beforehand. We went to the beach and then I showed them a bunch of options and they decided Legoland would be fun. So we drove out to Schaumburg. So we had plenty of time waiting for Kelly to get here. So that was neat. You like the Legos, right? Yes. Yeah.
I haven't done the Willis Tower. Was that scary?
Yes. Who was scared? It was, yeah, Jameson was a little more scared. Mason did okay, but Jameson's like, I don't want to wipe out in that part. I don't blame him. Yeah. Especially that picture, it's just like a little ledge that goes out, that looks really scary because you can't even really see the floors there, but.
Right.
I've seen a glass bridge in China that goes over a stone. It's kind of like that, but it's the whole bridge.
Oh,
there's no way we do that.
Scary. Yeah.
Awesome.
Downtown by Navy. We had a action-packed day. They were pretty tired by the end. Giant Chicago style pizza.
Where'd you go for the pizza?
We didn't have pizza.
Oh, you
because we
didn't?
had it in Lake Geneva a couple days
Oh,
before.
okay.
They wanted McDonald's. It's fine. They were hungry. We were at Navy Pier and there was like stuff. But that was just the Willis Tower. They had a different Chicago artifacts.
Very good.
Last picture.
That's it, yes. We have a couple of gifts for you to take back to school or yourself, however you want to break that out, but wanted to give, and I don't do a nice job wrapping like that. When they give this in China, this is probably my best effort ever. So, it's from the school district to all of you for your schools.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone have any questions for Yes.
When did you arrive?
So the two boys arrived on February 1st, Sunday, so like a week ago, and then Kelly arrived Saturday night. Yes.
So come in the summer.
I
Much-
know, that's what
much
Susan,
nicer.
the first teacher,
Yeah.
she's been here twice, and I was showing her pictures of Lake Geneva in the summer, she's like, last time I said I wanted to come in summer, but they have a year or a month off right now for Chinese New Year.
Oh,
So it's an easy time to travel, but
yeah,
they have come for summer school years ago, so she said next time for sure I need to come in summer, it's always freezing. We usually get like a cold day after school while they're here, it's cold or snowy, but
Way Fong is cold right now too, though.
Yeah.
Is it about the same or colder here?
No, not colder,
It's
warmer than,
warmer in Way Fong?
yeah.
Okay.
And have you had a lot of snow this year?
yeah.
Yeah, they get snow too, so it's not totally foreign, but
yeah. And what grades are you in back home?
which number grade are you in? Sixth grade?
Seven.
So-
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
And-
they're actually from a different school compared to where Kelly works. How far away do they live from you?
Not far away.
Not far, yeah.
So do you, do you guys choose American names while you're visiting here? Cause I'm assuming that's not your real name.
So they were both actually born in San Diego, but
Okay.
mostly lived, but I asked him how long did he live in San Diego? It wasn't long.
They don't remember any of it.
Yeah,
Okay,
so they were little,
okay.
but I think they have these two have American passports, so that was nice,
Okay.
they didn't have to worry about the
Oh, that's
visa.
awesome.
Yeah, but most Chinese people choose an American name.
Yeah, that's what I knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had heard sometimes the teacher picks the name for them, is that right, or the kids always pick it, or choose their name? Yeah.
Sometimes I think that's maybe they choose better.
Their parents, maybe.
Or by them.
Yeah.
Parents, yes.
Yeah.
and we do the same thing in Spanish. class,
Right,
so-
right.
Yes.
Yeah, we
Right,
have the option.
yeah.
I used to make it required, Max didn't have to pick one. Yeah. Emiliano,
Okay, cool.
yeah, I can call you Maximiliano. As I get older, it's hard to remember the Spanish, the English, the last. If they want it, I'll.
And do you, are you a teacher
Yeah,
in China?
yes, I'm an English teacher in China.
English.
I taught grade 5 and grade 6.
Okay, great.
That's her first time in the United States. so
Oh.
it's exciting.
Well, thank you for coming.
Yes, thank
You
you.
go to the middle school with the students all day long? Yeah, how do you like the school?
So great.
Okay.
And the building is so great, and the class, today I went to the music class. I saw every child, they can play instrument just like guitar, drum, so great.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming. It was great to meet you all, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your time here.
Thank you.
Thank you, host parents and families.
Sorry we were late. We're new to Elkhorn area too, so I didn't know where we were going. Was that West Side Elementary or whatever? What's that?
Mark Jackson, is that the
It is, but depending on the app you use, sometimes it shoots you further north.
West Side?
Yeah, it took me to West Side 3 North Jackson. Took me
It's technically the same building, yeah, but it's
Sorry.
different address.
They found it.
We're
but
good.
yeah, the post
It's not real big, so-
They're a wonderful job.
I just thought you guys locked me out, trying to get in the other building.
Oh.
Well, sorry, yeah, I actually sound the 1887 building.
Yeah.
Okay, although I guess you have to sound like the year 1887.
Yeah. And somebody asked the address, I'm like, yeah, that's right, but. Hang on this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Thank you, have a good night.
Thank you. Okay, we just need an approval of the regular session school board meeting. from January 26th.
To approve the minutes of the January 2026 regular session school board meeting as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the January 26th, 2026 regular session school board meeting. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, and
I'll move to approve the minutes of the January 27th, 2026 closed session school board meeting as presented.
Second.
it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the January 27th, 2026 closed session school board meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? General and other fund bills. Mr. Earl,
The business office offers for approval the following US Bank check numbers 155720 and 155722. BMO check numbers 161510 to 161614. Wire numbers 0947 to 0949 and 1012 to 1014. The ACH numbers 523 to 562 for a total of $745,369.07.
are there any questions for Mr. Earl? Okay, hearing none, then looking for a motion.
I'll move to approve the general and other fund bills of February 9th, 2026. US bank check numbers 155720 to 155722. EMO Harris check numbers 161510 to 161614. Wire numbers 0947 to 0949 and 1012 to 1014. And ACH numbers 523 to 562 with combined amount of $745,369.07 as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the general and other fund bills of February 9th, 2026. US Bank check numbers 155720 to 155722. BMO Harris check numbers 161510 to 161614. Wire numbers 0947 to 0949 and 1012 to 1014. And ACH numbers 523 to 562 in the combined amount of $745,369.07. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
I smiled because I wanted to throw a niner in there. What totally broke me up. I had to slow down.
Oh, funny. It's okay. Now our student representative report. Take it away, Max.
Perfect. Okay, so starting at the high school, next Saturday, EHS will be hosting the Maker Fest on Valentine's Day. Showcases the incredible talents of students, educators, makers, engineers, artists, and community partners from across our district and beyond. Attendees can explore interactive maker booths, student showcases, live demonstrations, and creative experiences that highlight problem solving, design, and innovation. NHS is hosting their care package donation drive, which will continue till the 12th. And opportunities for hosting exchange students is high. They're looking for a couple, I'm pretty sure, for the next school year. If anyone's interested in that, maybe talk around, tell people. And then information night regarding dual credit opportunities such as BCCP and Start College Now has happened and are happening. And then girls golf also got a high award. I think it might have been state level, but for their GPA.
Yeah, they did.
Somebody's daughter's in that picture.
I would add the Maker Fest, if you haven't had a chance to go to it. It is the second largest Maker Fest in the state of Wisconsin, only behind the city of Milwaukee's. And phenomenal event, lots of booths, different opportunities for kids, adults alike to do hands-on activities. And this year, they're also bringing in a drone show at 6:00 p.m. at the football field for Valentine's Eve, where it's gonna be a Valentine's themed drone show.
Yeah.
So
It's gonna be
it's a
cool.
neat event, lots of people that turn out for that, so.
And there's also an event at the Maker Fest during the day, where you can actually go behind the scenes and see how they program the drones and get hands-on. And so there's some really great opportunities there. And Wausau Homes is also sponsoring the Lego building contest, so get your kids entered.
So at the middle school, grades 6 to 8 have been offered to do a dance camp with the EHS dance team. Also sixth graders were able to take a field trip to BizTown, which is a hands-on simulated town to teach about different occupational opportunities. And then golden tickets were awarded to a student for excellent behavior, as shown on the left. At Jackson, students have been learning about money regarding ways to handle it and understand it. Students in the library have been learning about a lot of robotics, and then they also had a giddy up themed cafe night, provided a book tasting and different refreshments. Tibbetts is collecting books for the annual book swap, where students are allowed to go home with new stories to read. The kids also started the Heart Challenge, which teaches about heart health and raises money for the American Heart Association. And Tibbetts Students Council brought Miss Kim's Amazing Animals to school for students to learn more and get up close with different animals. And kindergartners have been working on clay pinch pots. So at Westside, they celebrated the end of iReady testing with a pizza party. And then Officer Croak read to the classes. Westside students also had their art displayed in the Madison at East Town Mall. And fifth graders demonstrated their Vex cars to younger students and explained the building process. CCA, their culinary team at CCA participated in the WCEDA Culinary Showdown, learning to make the Thai dishes and served a fine dining experience to 10 people. They had their own instructor that taught them different techniques and ingredients. At Options, it's the month of February and Random Acts of Kindness. Mrs. Remy read the book Gnome in Your Home, dressed as a gnome and shared stories about kindness. Students are having fun trying to find their gnome mascot hidden around the building and doing activities centered around kindness. iReady testing has commenced for K to 8, and they are preparing for the spring ACT and board exams. And eighth graders have been engaged in ACP meetings with Miss Kilkenny and their families to discuss high school opportunities in the district. And then finally, here are just a couple things I want to throughout the entire district. They had their annual chili cook-off and had an amazing result. The middle school cafe was filled with Elkhorn people, and then the area autism support team was able to fundraise money from the different chilies, soups, and baked goods. And then the Elkhorn Area Community Talent Show is now open for registration. And there's this Lego House Challenge.
You can win cash prizes.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's registered for that by Wednesday, February 11th.
And I want to compliment the Ingersolls for driving the price up on the cake to a new record high and then dropping it on the other person. It was masterfully done, Will. And they had was it a cheesecake that sold for $515?
$530.
$530?
Yes,
So,
I gave my husband a limit and he exceeded it and then dropped out.
yeah. All right.
Is
there a senior level category for the Lego House Challenge? Can large kids enter?
Adults, is it what you're asking?
Yeah.
I actually dropped the adult category this year because we have not had any adults participate in the past.
Well, you just go and build shacks for them later. Right?
No, Jack's gonna build it for me and I'm gonna enter and win cash.
Oh.
Okay, thank you very much, Max, for that report. All right, next is the reorganization of Options Virtual Charter School and conversion of grades 9 through 12 to an independent charter school.
All right, so I shared with the board through email communication that we received notice recently from the DPI grants team that our charter school expansion grant was being pulled from Options Virtual Charter School for failure to meet the 20% growth target.
Which seems really hard to do for any school.
Yes, and especially when you're looking at, we'd written the grant for grades 6 through 12, which was close to 200 students. So we needed to grow by a net 40. And last year was our planning year. So all of our marketing and that planning was being developed, ready to launch this year for next year. So I attended several of the conferences. It was never communicated to us that if you don't have 20% growth in your first year, then the grant's pulled. We didn't say we're going back through the fine print. So we were taken off guard that, hey, third Friday counts in, you guys didn't meet this threshold. The good news is we still received the money from last year and all expenses that were booked for this year. Up to that date that it was pulled, including, our expenditures on the marketing and consultant and so forth, that's all covered by the grant. So what we did decide to do is there is a opportunity with that same 5-year grant funding window to apply for a new grant. We can't do a expansion grant, but this is better in the sense that what we'd like to do is similar to what CCA did with Southern Lakes College Academy. Break it off as a new charter school. The only requirement for that is that you have 20 students enrolled. So we know that we would instantly have 20+ students enrolled. They're in the process of writing the grant. We'd come for formal approval. I just wanted to have that preliminary discussion to, there's no need for a vote because one, we'd have to get the grant first before we get to that point. And getting virtual school grants are hard because it's sent out from DPI. There's a team who grades the grant proposals, and they're not traditionally favorable towards virtual schools, to be frank. So they get scored pretty tightly, which we noticed that with the charter school expansion grant. So that's what we'd like to do. That similar concept would carve off the 912 to make it a independent virtual charter school. With that programming option, that would thereby make it a new school and only have the requirement of having 20 students in it. It would provide $800,000 in grant monies is what we'd be applying for, which would be slightly more than what we would have gotten in the remaining amount from the charter school expansion grant. And that would be over a 3-year period.
We'd have to give it another name.
Yeah, we'd have to, similar to the Southern Lakes College Academy, would have to give it a different name. Now, it could be as simple as options K-8 virtual charter school, options 912. But we'd have to have a different name designation. I would recommend not significantly changing just because there's value in that branding.
Into options, maybe.
Right. Yeah. So I would recommend a very slight, just to meet the letter of the law. Tweak.
You'll be able to get the same board if.
Yeah, same
And
as,
all that stuff, how
Yeah.
we just did it.
you
So,
can use the same charter school board, same contract, same,
Okay.
all of that, yeah. Even the same LLC, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So wanted to make sure we had kind of that blessing, or if there's anything else you want us to bring. The due date for that grant is February 25th, I believe, so it's something we got to move quickly on.
Anybody have any comments or questions or?
Love DPI.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we can leverage that oopsie to having some support on and assistance in getting this through.
and our contact did say that, like, it's quality run school, there's nothing,
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
The number
Where,
You
how
did
far
great.
off were we?
37 students.
Oh, so we're like 3 students?
30.
No, 37.
Oh, we were,
37.
oh, we
We
were,
only had a net gain of 3,
oh,
so we need 40,
okay.
yeah.
And he said that it wasn't close enough to kick it to next
Yeah.
September.
Yeah.
So,
And 20% though, that is high.
In
Hard to
statewide, virtual schools are losing enrollment numbers. So, and it's a competitive marketplace, you have more of them coming online and on board, so. That being said, we have some very unique programming, our partnership with UW Green Bay, the Rising Phoenix program. Our partnership with Gateway and Whitewater on it, and that delivery model where we do focus on a hybrid where it's part face to face, whether, you know, like our students that are in Green Bay go into the technical college or UW Green Bay to take face to face classes quite often, so.
Okay.
It's just, we need to get, you know, one, the word out, the awareness of it, and also part of what they're finding is students going from 8th grade to 9th through 12th grade, because Options Virtual School is hybrid and a lot of those students are attending the academy or face-to-face 3 days a week. A lot of those parents are opting at the high school level to go to CCA. So when we've seen the CCA numbers really climb, in part that's where they've struggled, because and they should be agnostic. They're not trying to talk them out of going to CCA.
Right.
Because their high school format is more virtual only. So those families that want that face-to-face hybrid are going to CCA. So they're losing, it's not, the number hasn't gone down, but they're losing a lot of kids to CCA that would have been, you know, stayed in Options, they probably would have hit that growth number.
Okay.
But. All right.
Good. All right, Mr. Earl, you have a January enrollment report for us.
Yeah, this is just the change from September to January in our resident counts. I kind of color coded the resident changes and the open enrollment changes, just because I think that's important to tell our story to how we got added 9 kids to the district, that it's definitely not in one place.
Yeah.
And some of the numbers, like Tibbetts increasing 11 and Jackson going down, that independent of each other. There's no like
Right.
story there.
Right.
Same thing with like the high school decreasing 15 and CCA increasing 11. Like Mr. Tadlock looked into it, and there's no correlation. So
Yeah.
I was worried about things like that. But you can make your own stories with
Sure.
what how we got to where we got. So
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we need those housing startups to
Yeah. Yeah.
get rolling. But where we think we'll see more of that impact is at that middle school, high school level. I don't think we'll see a lot of change in our elementary numbers with the price point on the new houses.
I saw that there's some movement out on that land behind Options.
Yeah,
They're starting to work out there, so I mean,
yeah,
it takes a while to put infrastructure in, but
yeah.
as you have witnessed on
Mhm.
67 over.
Yeah,
the link will take you to the worksheet that I've made
Yeah,
that for the like the overall history, if you want to look at that.
you want me to click on?
No,
it?
you don't have to.
but
It's just-
good news is we're up, you're not down.
No.
Correct. And the other side news with enrollment is we have a like DPI student count audit going on right now too.
Okay.
So that's just another thing in the
Mhm.
another thing that we're doing in the business office for fun.
I think one of the challenges that or a big challenge that we have is I wonder, does it show it on this one, our outgoing? Yeah. If I can roll it up or look at that. But if we go and look at our high school age grades, scroll down, this is high school level all combined, correct? So we're churning out 364 seniors, which is a lot between our 3 schools. We're bringing in a projected 114 in 4K. So when you look at that differential on an annual basis, that's the difference of 250 students roughly. Which is a huge differential, so the way we make up from that differential, which I don't think we'll be able to make up that full, we'll probably be down about 90 resident students next year. But via open enrollment is that piece, it's not making it a 250 student drop from one year to the next.
Yeah.
You know, but that declining enrollment, and that aspect, the way the school funding formula works is
Right.
just putting that, it's very constructive
Yeah.
and concerning, so. So, but if people ask you, well, why did it look like a lot of the attrition was at the elementary level? Because it was, that's where our numbers are down.
We have a nice rise at the middle school level that's gonna keep us really steady there for 2 or 3 years. The rest of it washes gradually out. So.
Yeah. Okay. All right, thank you very much. Moving on, we have a newly formed legislative committee that we put together this year. So you guys met recently with Representative August and Senator Ness. Or Nas, I'm not sure. Yes. So you wanna, who's getting that report?
And
You wanna go ahead and kick it off and?
I think it went well. I think they
Okay.
both listened, heard our voices. Steve now leaving, I think,
Correct.
changes things. That was kind of unexpected. He was very engaged. Agreed with funding formulas at the state level, and I left encouraged, the most encouraged I've been from a legislative standpoint.
Okay,
Him leaving was a bit of a curveball,
yeah,
but I think having the committee is good. I think the two of them showing up
yeah,
and listening, and state reps being present is important. And
yes.
perhaps future state reps. But I'd like having this. I think that we should continue it. I think that, we should meet with them more often.
Sure,
I don't know where it goes from here, but the Steve thing was a curveball.
Yeah, I think we did speak about the funding formula and, suggested that when looking at that, really looking at that declining in enrollment exemption, and the reality is that they put a floor on the school district's budgets so that you didn't drop below that irregardless of what your enrollment number is, because the challenge, and we've shared this before with Representative August and Senator Nass, and they get it, but if we go down 90 students, that's representative over a 3-year period. That's not counting the year before we were down as well, but just that 1 year, that will eventually equate to roughly $1 million loss in revenue. But when you go down that 90 students, they're not all at one
Correct.
grade level. It gets spread out across that span typically. And so it makes it very challenging when you're looking at $1 million of lost revenue. Where do you take that from? Because you still have that
Right.
infrastructure that's spread across 14 grade levels.
right,
So if you figure if it was evenly distributed, which it's not, that's why we had more attrition at the elementary level. But if it was evenly distributed, that's less than 9 kids per grade level. It's about 7 kids per grade level less. And then you figure on average, we have about 9 sections per grade level. That's less than 1 kid per class on average.
yeah,
So it just doesn't grant that cumulative mass that you need to reduce it. And the way the funding formula is, it does parachute it over a 3-year period, you lose that, but you lose that revenue base. And that's why we see so many districts in the state of Wisconsin having to go to operational referendum, because was it 75–80% of districts are declining enrollment in the state?
yes,
And that's why you have so many districts having to go to referendum to help offset that. One of the primary reasons, aside from school funding not keeping up with inflation, you have
Right.
that compounding issue
right,
with the dropping. The other piece that we spoke to, which I thought was interesting because the DPI got really criticized over adjusting their cut scores.
yes,
And in my opinion, they didn't adjust it enough, because it's still set at about the 55th percentile to be considered proficient. And we shared with them the NAEP chart, which shows where states rank on the rigor of their test scores. And Senator Nass, who he admittedly was pretty critical of DPI on adjusting and lowering standards, he didn't realize, he had never seen that before, and didn't realize that Wisconsin had, we were in like the top 3 in reading and math and what we consider to be proficient off the chart, comparatively speaking to like Iowa, which was 50th in the country. And really, when we're looking at what's proficient, typically schools will look at between the 25th to 75th percentile is considered average and in that grade level range. And if you had a student reading a 5th grade reading book who's at the 30th percentile, you'll be, oh yeah, they're a proficient reader if you listen to them read and so forth. And there's not that big of a difference between them and a student at the 60th percentile. But there's a big difference on how they're scored on that exam, because where they, I don't want to say where they arbitrarily, it was based off of Governor Evers, when he was state superintendent, he attached it, he wanted to peg it to what Massachusetts had set theirs at, which was a very high level, because he wanted schools to innovate and push to higher standards. And over time, it just got lost as to why it was set there. And they didn't communicate it well, but why we went from 95% of the kids proficient in the state to 45, 50%. Well, it's because you put the cut at 65th percentile. So I think they found that interesting, and Senator Nass said, well, gee, I wish somebody from DPI would have shared that one. So why they didn't communicate that, or why they didn't lay that out and help them understand how they set those cut scores, or the why behind
Well,
it.
why is the WASB not getting in front of their faces? Isn't that their job?
Yeah, I think it plays off as a really strong, how do you put it, political tool to say, oh, well, you're lowering standards. You know, it's much harder to explain, well, the standard wasn't an appropriate cut score in the first place. This is why we made an adjustment. So they definitely didn't, I don't know if they even attempted to share the story or
Yeah.
the narrative on that, but for us in a school, so the cuts are still at 55th percentile, but we don't provide response intervention or remedial intervention unless they're below the 30th percentile. So in a way, schools are stuck where, okay, the kid's at the 50th percentile, the parents are, well, my kid's not proficient. No, your kid's above grade level. Your kid's fine. You know, where they're at, they're proficient. We're always striving to help them get better, but you still have that misunderstanding or that disconnect. Well, what I find is most parents just don't even pay attention to the test score where the kids are at. They don't. They tend not to care. I don't know. Is that what you've seen, Chris? Or I can't remember the last time I can't remember. I've never had a parent call me up and complain that their kid wasn't at their proficient level in the state test.
It's just a marker of time, right?
Yeah.
Bad day.
Other thing, Bridget, you were there too. What were other things we talked about, or anything you wanted to share?
Probably not.
Let's move on.
I think Jason did a really great job bringing receipts, showing them exactly what needed to be put in their face to realize it.
Yeah.
I do think that we're gonna get way more support from one of them than the other one. So that's all I'll say about that.
All right. Yeah, then we had the WASB conference, Julie and I.
Right. Yeah, I only went one of the 3 days. I think I've gone every year that I've been on the board, other than 1 year. At least one of the days. I've been the representative at the WASB. This was my 5th year. Being the delegate for our district at the delegate assembly. So for those of you who don't know what the delegate assembly is, it's a representative from each member school of the WASB. And there's a delegate committee So there, I don't know how many people are on that committee, but I would say there's probably at least, I don't know, 25, 30 people. Representatives from across the state who, you know, we and other districts can propose, propose things to, the assemblies for the WASB, to lobby for at the state level. We've, to my knowledge, at least since I've been on the board, we've never proposed anything. Maybe that's something that the delegate or that the legislative committee might want to think about. Proposing, turning that in, that I think the due date for this next year, to turn that in is September 15th. So if there, you know, when you guys have meetings, if there is something that you feel strongly that we want the assembly to vote on, we just need to get that turned in. They review all of them and then they choose to move it forward to voting, which the voting happens at the Wisconsin Education Convention in January. That's what I attended, and have been the delegate for the last 5 years. Since I will be just a couple months away from ending my term at the next one, it might be a great idea for one of you to think about being the delegate assembly for next year. It was interesting this year. I found out that there are 5 school districts in the state of Wisconsin who have elected now not to be members of the WASB. It's like last year there were 2 that voted, and this year there were 5. So there's an increasing number of schools voting to not be a WASB member. I did find it interesting. More than half of the things that we voted on, I was in the minority. Some of the things I voted for that passed, and several of the things that came to up for resolution, I did not vote for, but did pass. One of the things, and I'm happy to discuss any of them with you. There's a number of them that I think were very confusing. Especially with regard to decoupling. That was an interesting one because there was an amendment, there was a resolution for and against. They're basically addressing the same issue with regard to decoupling on the funding for the voucher schools.
So right now, it's not decoupled, so.
Right.
What happens is when a student or when their family receives a private school voucher. The voucher is paid for from the state aid that's assigned to that resident district. So then that student, say if they go to Faith Christian, then that $13,000 that it costs to go to Faith Christian High School is taken away from the state aid that would come to Elkhorn Area School District. And then the district, though, levies the difference of that $13,000 to pay for it through the local tax levy. So that enables the state to say, well, the state's paying for the voucher, not the local taxpayer. It's the local school board who levied that tax on you. They didn't have to levy that.
So
you could have just let the state aid go away and the budget be reduced, but you can make up the difference in your budget
right.
by increasing the local levy. So all school boards that I'm aware of increase the local levy to cover the lost state aid. So decoupling would mean that voucher money is completely separate from the state aid. It's paid for from a different mechanism. In reality, it would probably just lower the amount of state aid that the state would have to give to schools anyway, but that would be distributed. So for us, the local vouchers equated to about $800,000 that was levied on the local tax levy to make up the difference of the lost state for the voucher. So decoupling would make it a separate system. Coupling keeps it together.
Right,
Some people worry that decoupling would hide financials.
Yes.
It
correct,
becomes.
More convoluted, convoluted, perfect,
right,
that's what will happen.
right.
So you're saying that the public is paying for private education and they really don't have a choice about that?
Correct, the local tax levy pays, if you really break down the dollars, the local tax levy pays 100% of the private school voucher through it being levied to make up the difference in the aid. As opposed to the public school student, we receive about 40%, rated about 40%, 42% this year for a public school student. But for the voucher student, 100% of it is covered by state aid that's taken from the local district. And then we make up the difference in the levy. So the way I look at it, the actual nuts and bolts of it is vouchers are paid 100% by local levies.
Right.
It's a shell game on.
It is, it's a shell game.
So technically, our tax levy could go up simply because people are paying for private education.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
But it was your choice as a board member to levy that
I
difference that you lost.
just
in the
want to
aid.
clear that.
Yes.
That's the reason why your tax levy is going up. It's because
One
you're
of the
paying for.
reasons.
well, it's one of the reasons.
Right,
Yeah,
That was one of the referendum.
right.
yeah,
One of them,
yeah.
You know what that number is by chance? How
yeah.
many?
It's right, it's pretty close to 800,000
800,000.
last
That's
year, right?
okay.
Chris would,
No, yeah, I'd say a little bit shy of that, but just about.
it's getting close to that.
There's a lot. It's a lot of kids.
60,000 students go.
Well, at 13,000 a pop for high school, it doesn't take that many to add up.
Right,
I mean, they get more for a private school voucher than what we get for high school.
Right.
student.
so for instance, one of the resolutions that passed that I voted against. Was that and this is just the resolution as it was proposed, the WASB supports state legislation to establish and fund a universal school meal program to cover the cost of all student meals not covered by federal programs. Well, this one and another one I voted against because we're asking the state to pay for more and they're not even funding us where we need to be now. So, but we're asking them to pay for meals for kids who don't need them. Like we already have a system in place to cover kids who cannot pay for meals. But they're wanting universal meal program to cover everybody. That did not make sense to me. Why we would want to be funding meals for kids that can afford to pay for their meals. So though this and one other one in particular, I felt were out of line. But it passed, on just one vote, so.
So who's driving these resolutions?
A lot of different school districts, you can see in the board packet, if you wanna read it, it's also online on the WASB website. They provide the submitting school district, they provide the rationale. And then, the policy and resolutions committee notes on all of them, but.
And no offense to WASB, I appreciate the effort,
Yeah.
but all this does is it kind of guides
It
their
does.
lobbyists.
They're
what
lobbyists,
advocate
that's
for.
what it does,
And
right?
I can't really, I mean, maybe there's been some bills that have passed that they were really pushing, but I can't remember the last one, I don't know.
Right, so I kind of walked away, and I know that the WASB provides other services for us. But I kind of walked away from the whole experience after doing this for 5 years, thinking. I just, through the question came into my mind, do we need to be a WASB member? I don't know.
And we pay them how much?
Sorry.
Same page. Thanks.
What does it cost us roughly? A year?
9,000 to 10,000. I believe, I'd have to double check that, but off the top of my head,
No.
it's about 9 to 10.
Is they ever talked about the success they've had?
No,
Oh, okay.
no. They do, I think, maybe sometimes at the regional meetings. But I don't know if they really ever have. What are your thoughts? Or would you rather not share them?
Every year I don't pay my WASDA dues till when it's time to go to the conference, and they keep reminding me, I don't get like the news updates. I would get cut off from and that's the superintendent
Right,
group, because I
Right.
feel kind of the same way, like, I don't know if I'm getting my value from the organization, but the networking piece and that component is very valuable. Some of the things they do, like the new board member orientation, the onboarding and so forth,
yeah,
is helpful. Is it worth from the price point to that dollar amount?
I don't know, I left questioning whether or not we should continue being a
Well,
WASB
for
member.
me, it's like, where the heck have they been through this whole thing about school funding?
Correct,
And every district across our states
right,
messed up with it. What have they been doing?
I think the challenge is you've got all these different districts which all have different scenarios, and this is the same thing when you're an organization that large. You have so many different competing voices. What's good for Elkhorn
right,
isn't good for
Right.
Wanakee.
right,
And or good for a perfect example, right here in our own district, and Representative Shutt would know this from dealing with it. Lake Geneva and Williams Bay will be like, we need more state aid, we don't get state aid. And I like to then I'll go and I'll tell the representative, when their mill rate's the same as Elkhorn and Delvin, who aren't as property rich, but we're still considered a property rich district, that's why we're negative tertiary. Which means we get less aid than the state average, because we have Lauderdale lakes.
Yep.
But we get aided about 40-45%. Williams Bay, I think, gets about 5% from the state. Everything else is local levy. But from my perspective, well, what's your mill rate? Their mill rate's like 5.5. Our mill rate's slightly above. So why do you need more state aid to make your tax rate lower than your neighbors? Just for the sake of tax. So it's competing different interests based on where they're at. Like when I came from New Glarus, though, their mill rate was around 11.5, 12. They were very property. Or they weren't aided at a high level. You may have seen like Beloit, I think Beloit was aided at 92%, but then it dropped to 75% this year on the new formula. And so that's why their tax rates went up. I think like 1,500%, but so you have those competing needs and
Right.
interests from all these different areas, and it's hard for WSB to round that. It's like herding cats.
yeah,
And then what the superintendents do is, especially when we have good relationships with our new representatives and so forth, they'll go and advocate for what their local need is over the need of the entire state, and advocate for their district. And so there's a lot of competing interests. But I think our involvement in that southeast group is really good with the legislative advocacy group that we have at that corner. I wouldn't say drop WSB, but I think the exact cost and the price and bring it back to the board.
there was,
And then I'd like to know, can you still attend the conference at a higher rate if you're not a WASB member? I'd like to look at what do we actually
Sure.
lose by not being members.
right.
What's the cost of attendance? For.
It's like 230,
Yeah,
I think 230 or something.
So we pay them and then we pay for the.
Yeah, they just still pay for the conference.
Yes.
Yeah.
right. One of the amendments that passed that I did not vote for, that really bothered me is prior to this, the existing resolution was that the WASB supports all federal grants flowing directly to school districts, cooperative educational service agencies. The resolution that they proposed and it passed was basically that all federal grants would flow to the state. And then the state would distribute those grant funds. I'm like, absolutely not. That once the state gets their hands on those funds.
What district comes up that?
There's Washington 20.
No, they did that for I don't wanna get too much into the weeds, but I would suspect they did that because. Last year, the feds came out with and made some statements on like a verification form, which created potential liability for school districts. If you didn't sign off that you did that, that they could go after you as an independent school district. And the state was able to say, no, we manage those federal dollars, not the district. We're the ones that sign off on it. School districts, you don't need to go and sign that paperwork.
Interesting, though, that the rationale had nothing to do with
Nothing to
that.
do with that.
No.
What did they say the rationale was?
The rationale was that, the state education agency has expertise, experience, and efficient structure for allocation and disbursement. I'm like, I don't think so.
It's a chat GPT statement.
Not everybody can have a Chris Earl or a Bill Truman, because
That's right.
So, anyway, those are just some examples of things, and I was increasingly frustrated by,
Yeah, I'd like to see this subject brought back to the board to discuss.
so that's why I got to put on the agenda, because I'm like, I really want you guys to understand what's going on.
You mean a WASB evaluation if we,
Yeah,
yeah.
the cost, I can ask Joey to pull that together. We got until the renewals like July.
I mean, if we could get some, these are the great things they've done for our district, I'd like to hear about them, because I think it's personally. Once I have to time to look at the graph.
The great things they've done for education in Wisconsin, that's what I'd like.
Well,
to
yeah,
hear.
yeah.
All right,
Lobbyists.
I would say the keynote that we listened to was
The
probably.
keynote was one of the best that I've heard.
Yeah.
She was excellent.
She's a sideline reporter for ESPN. I can't remember what her name was,
I
but
don't remember.
what she shared in her story was the power of co-curricular
Yes.
activities for
Yeah.
kids, and it fit right in line with our approach of getting that access to all students. And she shared the story of her youngest son who it literally saved his life.
Yeah.
He was dealing with suicide ideation, not fitting in, wanting to take his own life, and then got involved in the water polo team, and how that turned not just his life around, but his just having that connection with a group and being a part of a team turned his grades around. Not like overnight, he still, the coach, but it was that relationship with the coach and pushing him that turned it around.
Yeah,
to
it was,
very-
she
very
was
successful.
an excellent communicator, and her story was really, really good.
Anne Marie Anderson.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Well, that's been up there.
That's been up there for, I don't know,
Oh,
maybe
I don't
5
think I
minutes.
need that. Okay.
While we're waiting.
Yeah.
it's, 10,285 so we paid.
Okay.
WASB last year.
Okay.
I thought it was right around.
Do I need to go through my speech about where the money for private vouchers goes? Or who's paying for that? I'll do it again if you have to, if I haven't.
Okay,
All right, no, I'm good, we got it up now. That's what you're.
personnel report,
Yeah.
here we go.
Moving on to the personnel report.
All right, we have. A number of recommendations there. We want to thank Dodd Davy, who submitted his letter of retirement after 26 years with the school district. We have a transfer of George Birchfield. He was already working as a high school assistant lacrosse coach, transferring to help the head coach. And then resignation of Lori Lowitz, appointment of Taylor Robinson, and Caitlin Bjorgy.
Jack is gonna be crushed.
Oh, Lori.
No, Mr. Davy,
Oh,
Today.
yes. Yeah,
this is his favorite.
He might have also coached me in JV basketball once upon a time.
Couple
years ago.
he was my student teacher. Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, sure was.
I remember when he played basketball for.
I do too.
Yep, he was played with my husband.
That was kind of a funny full circle timeline right there.
Yeah,
Well, I just like to thank Don for.
Yes.
the years of
Yeah,
service.
absolutely.
It's
To
long.
the district.
Yeah, he's been an excellent teacher.
Yeah, and I'm amazed that he can retire after 26 years, so.
Yeah. All right, just looking for a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve the personal recommendation sheet for February 9th, 2026, including the employment contracts. Conditioned upon passing the background check and district mandated drug screening as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the personnel recommendation sheet for February 9th, 2026, including new employment contracts conditioned upon passing the background check and district mandated drug screening. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Looks like we have a couple of school gifts.
Yes, we do. Zoe Brown has donated a piano to the middle school valued at $1,200.
Wow.
The Elkhorn Penguins swim team has donated 2 touchpads for the pool, a pool starter, a tripod, and a cable to the high school valued at $4,932.66.
That is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you both both Zoe and the Elkhorn Penguin swim team for those generous donations. Looking for a motion to accept.
I'll move to accept the generous school gifts as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept the generous school gifts as presented. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? And then parking lot use requests.
Yes, each year they submit the parking lot use requests for the different activities. Green are confirmed. And then pink, the group is not confirmed yet, but we're basing it off of prior year.
Prior years, okay.
Participation, yeah.
And then if there's any vacant ones, John and John are working.
With groups that,
Yeah.
yeah, they can look to book that and.
Okay,
Like I know last year, Rotary Club, even the Sophos parking lot, they brought in. It just took a couple
Yeah.
volunteers to work there. They brought in quite a bit of.
Yeah.
Revenue from parking the Sophos area there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, looking for a motion to approve.
I move to approve the parking lot use request as presented.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the parking lot use request. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. You probably all received the FFA dinner letter. If that's something you're interested in attending, then please do so. The Elkhorn FFA is an amazing supporter of our agriculture curriculum.
We need to be concerned about a court there.
Oh,
I'll just have Jody
Yeah.
post it as a possible, again.
yep. All right, looking for a motion to adjourn.
Also move.
So second.
All right. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Andre.
Yes.
Eric Gordon,
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll.
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow,
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn,
Yes.
Mr. Green.
Yes.
And we let the record state that I am here and this is a short meeting and Heather's not. After 3 years, it officially is Heather's fault.
Duly noted.
I deny that.
We did have the state
Your
superintendent.
closed session minutes.
Yeah,